9.6, more Pythagorean theorem, but word problems. Yay, our favorite. You start driving east for 5 miles, turn left, and then drive north for another 12 miles. So let's talk about our directions. Hopefully we know it goes north, east, south, west. Never eat soggy waffles, never eat sour worms. I don't know how you learned it. But I'm going east. So start somewhere. I'm going east, so that would be going to the right. Then I turn left and drive north. So go up for 12 miles. And then at the end of driving, what is your straight line distance? What is this from your starting point? This was starting, this was finishing. Round to the nearest tenth of a mile. So I'm going to put this 5 here. So you're just doing 5 squared plus 12 squared equals x squared. And you should get that it is exactly 13 miles. Right, number 2. If you place a 24-foot ladder, so a ladder to me is leaning, that is the ladder's length, against the top of a 20-foot building. So here's my building, that's 20 feet tall. How many feet will the bottom of the ladder be from the bottom of the building? So this creates a right triangle. So ladder's here, building, how far is it from the base of the ladder to the base of the building? So I'd have x squared plus 20 squared equals 24 squared, rounding to nearest tenth of a foot. And you should get 13.3 feet when you round. Right, number 3. An altitude is drawn from the vertex of an isosceles triangle. Lots of geometry words there. Forming a right angle and 2 congruent triangles. As a result, the altitude cuts the base into 2 equal segments. Okay, so let's stop there and draw a picture. We have an isosceles triangle, which we know means that 2, this kind of looks equilateral, but 2 sides are congruent. An altitude is just dropping down from the top point, so from the vertex, which is here, dropping straight down, forming a right angle and 2 congruent triangles. They're exactly the same. As a result, the altitude cuts the base, this is the base, into 2 equal segments. The length of the altitude is 13, and the length of the base is 8. Okay, so how they're saying that means this whole thing's 8, so if I divide that by 2, that's 4 and that's 4. Find the triangle's perimeter. So I want to add up all the sides. I already know this side's 8, but I want to find this, which is also this, and add them. So all you're doing is looking at one of your triangles and doing Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to look at this one. 4 squared plus 13 squared equals x squared. And you should get that x is about 13.6. You could go ahead and round now to the nearest tenth, or you could have kept it square root of 185 and just add that. It's up to you. So then my perimeter is going to be 13.6 plus 13.6, or 13.6 times 2 plus 8. Which is going to be 35.2 inches. All right, last one. Stay with me because this one is a little trickier. 20-foot ladder is set against the side of a house so that it reaches up 16 feet. So a 20-foot ladder set against the side of a house so that it reaches up 16 feet. If Christian grabs a ladder at its base and pulls it 2 feet farther from the house, how far up the side of the house will the ladder reach now? The answer is not simply 14, just so you know. Taking 16 minus 2. Round the answer to the nearest tenth of a foot. So you got to think about what's happening here. The ladder is not changing its length, right? A ladder is not, we're not talking about one that's expandable. The ladder is the ladder. It's 20 feet. So what happens if I pull a ladder like this out from the base? Now it's not as steep. So now it's doing something like this, and there's a good animation on Delta Math that'll help you. This stays 20. I need to know this, so I'm going to have to know this distance. So what I do is I come back to this triangle and I find how far is the ladder from the house right now at the ground. So I'm going to do x squared plus 16 squared equals 20 squared. Okay, so that's going to be 12. So right now, this is 12. If I pull it back 2 feet more, so if this is 12 and then I'm adding 2, now this is 14. So I would add 2 feet to this. And now I have a new triangle that I'm going to do, call this x, and say x squared plus 14 squared equals 20 squared. Nearest tenth would be 14.3 feet. So this is a two-step process of figuring out first how far is the ladder from the house, then adding the 2 feet that you're pulling it out, and then doing it again to figure out the new height.